Hi guys, welcome to Chakra Sessions. I am your host, Jo Labbé, and I'm here for Soul Connections tonight. Chakra Sessions is the page we're on, but Soul Connections is what we're doing tonight. I'm here to help facilitate you connecting with your spiritual team to help clear, cleanse, restore, reboot, whatever you need at the soul level and the energetic level. So this is your time to do self-healing, and I'm just guiding and helping the energy move through your system to give you an easier time, a faster boot up, if you would. And tonight, after the healing meditation, as always, I will be pulling cards from 2 different decks. So this evening, we're still sticking with the theme. We're going to have the Sacred Earth Oracle, and that's Tony Carmen Salerno. And I always feel like this is such a good connection for us with Grandmother Earth. It's very grounding in the beginning of the year to really be rooted in our energy with the earth. And the other one is the Gaia Oracle. Again, the divine feminine Grandma Earth, and really connecting. And this is also by Tony Carmen Salerno. And so these cards are all kind of mixed together, and my team has me pull whichever one is right for you this evening to help you on your journey. So if you guys would help out there in Facebook land by liking and sharing this broadcast, it lets us reach people who might be in need of guidance or in need of healing this evening. And really, this is especially amazing for all of our light workers out there, because we give and give and give, and we don't always take the time to do our own self-work and our self-clearing because we're so busy. It's hard to fit in a healing. And this is like dedicated time where I'm here for you and holding space with my spiritual team to help all of the people out there, but especially the light workers, because we need you guys to be at your top game and helping the people you're meant to be helping right now. And I want to say a big shout out to Neshi, who's my co-pilot on this evening, as she helps, set up who needs what cards so I don't get pulled out of my channel. They're very, for me, when I'm channeling energetically, reading and writing is very much in one side of the brain and channeling is in the other. I can write down channeled messages, but I don't have a full awareness of them as they're coming out. I hear them as they're being written. But this way I can take care of more of you guys more quickly. And we've been really going at it. I think our record at this point is 55 cards drawn. So I'm game to beat it. If you guys can spread the word, we could get the healing messages out to even more people. So I'm glad you're here with us this evening. I can't see your comments because of the way the show is set up, but Neshi will share them with me. She'll share like who's asking for cards, because this is one of those nights that I get a little bit of overwhelm if I see all of the comments. Like I said, it will pull me out of my energy sometimes. So welcome. I'm here in Western Massachusetts at this moment at Trinity Healing Sanctuary, where my school is located, Trinity School of Mystical Energy Healing. And, we just had a full moon on Monday. We had a lunar eclipse as well. And that energy is still vibrating through to tonight. So we will have a lot more juice as we're going through the energy, because there's more of it to connect to. And that's a really good thing, because we can really take some time to make some real change. So I invite you and encourage you to set an intention for your healing this evening. Is there anything that's been coming up for you that you would like to change? And it can be on the physical level. You could have a backache or a hip ache or a neck ache, or be having headaches or something, and you could ask for that energy to be shifted. It could be on the emotional plane. You may be having, an emotional roller coaster that a lot of us can have when we get stressed or into overwhelm. Maybe you're having difficulty with a lot of spinning thoughts and ideas and having trouble taking action. Or maybe, you really just need some time to connect to spirit. All of those things are wonderful intentions and can all be taken care of by the healing this evening. So I can see some of my friends are here. So hi to Rob and Julie and Christine and Anne and Julie Shumway Hill and Violet and Jackie and Andrew. I can see you guys already. So thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing up for yourself. Let's put it that way, because that's a really big deal for us. So let's get ourselves started, because as you guys know, sometimes the cards are going to take a little while for us to get them out there and get them all shared. So are you all ready? All right. So let's start by really trying to get ourselves grounded into a good space. So we want our arms and our legs uncrossed. And if you're sitting in a chair, try to get your feet on the floor. And try to keep your back as straight as you can so that your hara line and your crystalline tube are lined up. And it makes it easier for the energy to flow if we're not hunched over. But above all, be comfortable. All right. And just take a couple of deep breaths. And with each deep breath, just sort of bring your attention and awareness to your heartbeat. And just start to notice what ideas are popping through your head. We're going to begin by calling in the divine energy however you perceive that. So you may connect to God, Goddess, Creator, oneness, consciousness, all that is. Whatever your connection is to the divine, just take a moment to focus and connect to that. And we're going to ask the divine energy to surround and protect us in a bubble of infinite love and infinite light, surrounding and protecting us in a sacred space, in our own container of healing. And we set the intention that the healing this evening is for the good of all and harm to none, including ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to be making clearing noises for the group as we go. And calling your spiritual team, the whole team, your angels, your guides, your ancestors, your animals, your star beings, all divine, of the highest, fullest, and brightest vibration available to you in this moment.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just begin to call the divine energy in at the top of your head, at the crown, and just allow it to connect for just a moment. And as the divine energy connects, you may experience tingling or pressure. You may sense light or heat. And we may experience nothing at all, for we each connect in our own unique way.
Yeah.
And we're going to begin to call the energy into our third eye, into our forehead, and begin to calm all the spinning thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and patterns swirling around in there at the moment.
Yeah.
Releasing anything you may need to do later or tomorrow. Knowing that the list will be there when we're done.
Yeah.
And release any worry you have about the past. What you would like to change, you wish you was different.
Yeah.
And we're going to gently bring our focus and our breath and our being back into center, back into this moment now.
Yeah.
And we're going to ask that our perception be cleared and expanded so that we use all of our senses, including our sixth sense and even our seventh sense, to work together as a team. And opening and expanding our communication with our spiritual team and the divine in all levels and dimensions.
Yeah.
Giving ourselves space for that inner knowing to drop in and assist us in making our decisions and taking action.
Yeah.
And expanding our eyesight so we can see clearly and be seen fully by others.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And clearing the energy at our ears and opening them so that we can hear the nuances along with the messages from others and our team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we may hear others clearly, not just the words that they say, but the meaning that they impart.
Yeah.
And so that our needs and wants and desires are heard as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And opening the throat, making room for our authentic truth to be spoken, our self-expression to come into focus,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and release all the words that you've held on to in anger and frustration.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the things said that you've taken personally, And just allow the energy to dissipate, making space in your throat for you to be who you truly are.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And release the stress and the tension in the back of your neck. All the energy that you've held on to there.
Yeah.
And releasing the energy, pressing down upon your shoulders, the gravity of responsibility, the burdens that you carry for yourself and for others.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And allowing the energy to begin to move down into your lungs and your heart. Making room for you to breathe more fully, more clearly.
Yeah.
Releasing any pockets of congestion that you may have there. And making room for your heart to have space for healing by releasing any sadness or disappointment or grief that you may be holding on to. Any old shame or blame that has been weighing you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really tapping into the old grief that is sitting in your back between your shoulder blades, behind the heart. And just honoring its presence if you are not ready to let the grief go. But just allowing some of the energy to dissipate so it doesn't have to congest so tightly in that location.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And connecting to our inner child in the upper right chamber of our heart. And just allowing the child to release any energy that it is carrying for you, any of your old trauma from childhood, anything that the child may feel responsible for. And bringing them energetic nourishment so they feel filled with love and support and room to grow.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And returning the child with a sense of wonder and joy and excitement
Yeah.
and play.
Yeah.
And connecting to your inner adult and all the ways the adult gets caught in the doing and often forgets about the being.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And give the adult some space to stretch and relax for a moment. There's nothing to do, just be in this moment.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And now connecting to your inner warrior in the lower left chamber of the heart. And thanking the warrior for protecting you and taking action when you need it and helping you move forward in your soul's journey. But in this moment, even the warrior can have a moment of rest. Releasing any connection to the adrenal glands and the need to rev your energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And moving into the upper left chamber of the heart and connecting to the sage elder, the wise one that you've carried with you each and every lifetime, the part of you that holds all the wisdom of all the lifetimes that you have accumulated. And by opening your connection, that wisdom can drop into your awareness whenever you need it, simply by asking and connecting.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And now bringing the energy down into the third chakra and assisting all of your upper organs and gently helping them to release any anxiety, stress, or overwhelm that they are holding onto for you or working very hard to process and release.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Releasing any old resentment, any frustration, or any judgment that you may be holding on to. whether it was given or received by you. You can hold on to the connection to that.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
And any fear or anger that may be battling in your belly at the moment,
Got it. Yeah. Got it.
and any energy that may be squeezing your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-confidence, because the light of our self begins in the solar plexus. It begins to shine there and lights up our entire being.
Got it.
And then moving down into our second chakra, just below the belly button, and beginning to release any emotional energy that we've held on to. Any sadness, any anger, any grief, anything else that may be stored in the second chakra. And the ways that emotional energy connects us to others. And releasing any toxins or negative energy flow that may be happening in any of your connections with other people, with other things.
Yeah.
Where the giving and the receiving is not equal on both sides. And releasing any addiction energy that may be swirling around in here. That obsessive need, whether it is for a thing or for a person. If the obsession controls you, then it is holding on energetically in this location, ready to be dissolved, brought back into balance, restored to harmony. Bringing our sexuality back into balance, our power back into balance, and even our relationship with money back into balance.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
And now move the energy down into your first chakra below the tailbone. And allow anything left to clear, anything that is causing you to feel unsteady, unsure, unsafe. Any difficulties that you may have with your finances, your job, your home, your family of origin.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah.
Any ways that you are feeling unsteady at the moment, off kilter.
Got it. Yeah.
And allow that energy to move through your hips, expanding and opening your pelvic floor to hold even more space and more energy flow. And feel it as it goes down your legs, connecting to your knees, making room for flexibility and adaptability in a number of ways.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Bringing down your calves and your shins into your ankles and your feet. And feel the expanded connection to Grandmother Earth as you feel your energy go beneath the floor and the foundation and through the layers of earth and rock. And allow your energy to reach for the heart center of Grandmother Earth. That molten lava center that contains the original energy of creation, held lovingly in her heart to share and heal us with. And now we ask Grandmother Earth to gently bring that energy up to begin to fill in all of the energy that we've chosen to let go. All of those places where we were willing to release what no longer served us. And she comes in through our feet and begins to send the heat and the warm healing of that golden flow up through our ankles and our calves and our shins, moving into the knees to heal and restore them, coming up through the thighs and the hamstrings to connect into our hips, filling our whole pelvic floor like a giant bowl. And as it moves up our torso, it also moves up our spine, filling in all those places and loving and supporting our organs for how hard they work for us to help us each and every day. And reminding our spine that the divine is here to support us in every day, in every way. And as it moves up into our rib cage, filling our lungs with the fullness of the divine oxygen, penetrating all of our cells as they move through our bloodstream, through our veins, our capillaries, our arteries, going out in every direction through our entire body. And allowing the energy to fill in our heart and all of its chambers.
Got it. Got it.
And allowing the energy to begin to overflow down your shoulders, down your arms, into your hands.
Got it. Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
And coming up through your throat and your neck, moving up into your head.
Yeah.
As it moves up through your head, just gently allowing it to cascade down over you, cleansing, restoring, and repairing your aura in all of its layers.
Yeah. Good.
And remember, your aura is in back of you as well, including behind your shoulders, behind your rib cage,
Yeah.
behind your tailbone.
Good. Good.
It's on either side of you as well, and above you and below you, all the way beneath your feet to connect down into the earth plane. Now just take a gentle moment to ask all of your chakras in your entire system to gently light up, opening and expanding your energy in each and every direction and every dimension. And take a moment to send healing energy down to Grandmother Earth, helping her restore and replenish her energy field as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And send healing out to those who have prayed and asked for healing from the divine, knowing that it will be for the good of all and harm to none, and for their highest best.
God.
And take a moment of gratitude with your spiritual team for being here with you this evening, helping you, guiding you on your healing journey, as always. All right, and let's begin to bringing our energy back into our body fully, into this moment. You can begin to stretch or yawn. You can rub your feet on the floor, rub your hands together, whatever helps you come back into this moment right now. Welcome back. We had a lot of belly stuff going on. And a lot of stuff in the back of a heart. For those of you who have that pain point in the back of the heart, in between the shoulder blades, you know, we keep the chiropractors in business by holding our energy back there. That is old grief. And the interesting thing about old grief is it isn't always about loss. When we're children and we first experience loss, it may be something that as an adult we would consider inconsequential. So you can have a child who's grieving, having their blankie taken away or their pacifier taken away, or you can have energy of grieving, your favorite toy breaking. And it may not be something consequential as an adult, but in the energy of childhood, our things are an extension of who we are. So it's just the same as if we broke an arm or a leg when we break our favorite toy. It's a part of us, it's part of our identity. So that can be very difficult, and that can be right in that spot in the back of the shoulder blades. It doesn't have to be something that we would necessarily understand as grief. So just keep that in mind. All right. So we're going to begin on the card reading. So if, for those of you who've been here before, you know the drill. You just say yes, please. And I will pull a card, a divination card for you. This evening, again, we're using the Gaia Oracle and the Sacred Earth Oracle by Tony Carmen Salerno. They like to play together because it's the divine feminine and grandmother earth. They like to team up sometimes. And it's always a nice energy to start off the new year with because it is very grounded and centered in our walk of life, as it were. So I read them in the order that you've asked for cards. So if you put in your request, you can kind of follow the comment feed to see where the next card is coming from, okay? All right, so we're going to start with Rob. All right, I'm going to pull your card first, Rob. Of course. The What'd You Know, Polly Joe always gets me started. So your card, Rob, is Listen. So the Listen card comes to us when, and I don't know if you can see, I'll show you one more time. There's a spiral at the ear, kind of like that conch shell. You know your sacred geometry. So this is all about getting quiet and actually hearing your spiritual team. They are trying to communicate with you. They are trying to get messages to you. But when we get busy in all the doing, we kind of tune out their signals. And sometimes the only way where we can hear them clearly is when we stop and we meditate or we pray. So this is telling you to open your ears a little bit more, allow yourself to hear what is being spoken to you, and remember that it's coming to you from a place of love. Sometimes something is said and it's hard to hear and we react to it, but it's truly meant to help you and meant to heal you. And sometimes it's difficult to hear, but that is the thing that can help us shift our life and our purpose most quickly. So try to keep your ears open and listen fully for what they're trying to say to you. And you know how to do that. So, all right, Julie, your card is Renewal. So when the renewal card comes in, the renewal is saying to you, it's time to start again in a certain way. I'm seeing sort of a ritual bathing, a purification and a cleansing. And then as you step out of the water, you step into a new Julie. This is about stepping back into who you are. Not that you've been far away from who you are, but we all get a little off track at times. We get caught up in our everyday life and we kind of veer a little bit off to the side. So this is sort of a gentle rebirth. It's kind of how you feel after, going to a fabulous spa. You get very taken care of and you feel very relaxed, and then you have more energy to tackle your difficult schedule. So that's the type of thing that you need to do. And usually this involves some self-care. So don't be shy about, getting some energy healing, getting a massage, whatever, acupuncture, whatever feels really lovely to you. A facial, mani-pedi, whatever feels like you're pampering and loving yourself. That will help renew and restore your energy at this time. All right, Christine. More cards came today, by the way. All right. So your card is the Moonlight Goddess. And I love her. The Moonlight Goddess is it's calling on you to heal any repressed emotions. So when we've held on to anger and not had an opportunity to let it go, or we've held on to sadness and not had time to let it go, it starts to energetically collect in our body and really eat it away to a degree. So it's time for you to call on the moon goddess to help you with that healing. And the moon energy is so high right now. It's perfect time for it. And she encourages you to go inward and to reflect on things that continue to resurface from your past. They kind of bubble up in the water. And when we do that, if we shine the moonlight on them, the moonlight is more gentle than the sunlight, right? The sunlight is really strong and direct and kind of blunt and in our face, but moonlight is soft and soothing. And so this is spotlighting some things in your past that you're still holding on to that really aren't helping you move forward. They're causing you anxiety, or they're causing you to hibernate, isolate, is how they're showing me. They're kind of like you putting this cloak over your head and hiding. So it's time for you to gently let go. The safest place we can be is in our own body. So honoring the sacred vessel that you are in and releasing anything that felt like trauma. I guess that's the best way to put that. All right, Anne. Your card is Remembrance. I love this because she's like coming out of the water and covered in seaweed, but you can see that it's either sunrise or sunset because of the sky. So it's that time that Nessie talks about, grandmother earth and grandfather sky meeting together and expressing their love, right? So in this card, this is another version of there's a resurfacing of past emotions and past feelings. And so all water in these cards is all about emotion. So you can see how there's some surf there. So there's a little turbulence, but she's really tangled, right, in the seaweed. And so that is an illusion of our past controlling us and who we are. And so when we remember that this is something that is no longer happening to us, so it no longer has to control us, we can step back and step out of that emotional turmoil and back into who we are. And so this is sort of another type of releasing and cleansing and stepping back in and letting go of the old emotions. And you guys, this is like the time for that with the the full moon and the lunar eclipse, that's what this energy is all about, letting that old stuff go. So take an opportunity to do that. All right, Julie Shumway Hill. Your card is the Sacred Earth Mother. I love this one. There's the 3 orbs that lead to the high heart. That pink color is the high heart. The green is your regular heart. And this is sending you a message of love, that the divine loves and supports you. It has your back. And remember that with the divine feminine, there are no conditions on her love. You have it all the time. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, you are loved. And you are loved. When we remember to connect to our sacred heart, that's all that we emanate is love. And that love needs to be directed toward yourself first. And then you can open even further to share it with others. And you have a big, beautiful heart that is gentle. And this is to fill you up so that you can share more love for other people, but to fill you up with love, self-love the most. All right, Violet. Your card, my dear, is Stretch. I love all the wild energy around her, going out in every single direction, right? It's just cool. So the Stretch card is, we get stuck doing the same thing over and over again. And we don't always step out of our comfort zone, do we? So this is time for you to stretch your sense of self, stretch your capabilities. You've been playing it safe for quite a while. So now it's time to sort of step out there and really push your boundaries of who you are and what you are able to accomplish. There's a lot of comfort in what we know. But the miracles happen when we step outside of our comfort zone. That's where the true magic happens. So you want more magic in your life, then it's time for you to stretch out and be more fully who you are. I keep seeing you kind of putting a toe in the water, but it's time to go dive right in, jump right in, and your team's got you. So there's nothing even to be afraid of. All right. Time to push yourself. All right, Jackie. Your card, my dear, is Lost Love. And lost love is a hard card sometimes because it can be tapping into our old grief. But like I said earlier, lost love really can be anything that was an important part of us, from a childhood toy to an animal that we loved, to a loved one who's no longer with us, to a friendship that exploded. There are all different ways that we can go through loss. But when we focus on the loss, we miss what's happening in front of us. So it's time for you to kind of surrender, allow the emotional energy to flow through of the grieving process of what was lost, but know that there is a gift inside of that. There is a healing to occur. And, we all go through tough times. And so we can spend our time looking back on what was, or we can focus on what could be. And it's time for you to start shifting your focus from the loss into where can you go next, because there are beautiful things right in front of you that you're missing because you're focused on the old energy. All right, so bring your energy back home and you'll find a lot of peace there. All right, Andrew. That your profile picture just cracks me up, dude. I just have to say it. Your kids are awesome, getting you to wear their glasses, and it's like you're a giant minion. So here is your card for this evening. It's called Clarity. This is a great card for you. It's a great card for anyone, really. Clarity is when it's time to expand your third eye. And we did this in part of the meditation. Open your perception. Call in all of your senses to work together, including your intuition. And when you do that, you expand your perception. When your perception expands, then things become clearer. You are able to understand the nuances better behind what is happening. You know, if we only trust what we see or only trust what we hear, we miss all the ways that we feel and smell and sense, and what our radar is trying to tell us. So clarity will come as you start to use more of your senses and more of your gifts. And it's really about thinking about expanding your perception so that you can perceive more information. And the more information we have stored inside of us, the more we can make an intelligent decision and take action from a really open and loving place. All right? Christina, you need a card today. So your card is Surface. It's really similar to that other one where she was coming out with the seaweed. So this is you floating in the water, and everything is coming up to the surface. All the old emotions that have been held on to are coming up to the surface, to heal and to clear and to clean. And when that's happening, it can be kind of a rocky road, because our old hurts are right in front of us as if they happened today. And when we're dealing with other people, they do not have that frame of reference. And so it can be really hard to have open communication in that time. So this is telling you that all that emotional energy is coming to the surface to clear and repair and restore you. And also that you need to look below the surface in others, to what they're holding back energetically and whether they're in the moment with you when you're trying to have a conversation with them. If they're in the past as well, you are not having open communication. You're not being heard, and neither are they. So it's time to pull that stuff to the surface, clear it, so you can create a better, stronger relationship with a couple people close to you. And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. All right, Carol. Your card, my dear, is Perception. The word of the day. Said that a bunch of times already. So the Perception card is, it's very similar to what I was saying with Andrew about clarity, but this has a slightly different connotation, because what it's saying to you is that there is this thin veil of illusion. And illusion can happen when we don't want to hear what we don't want to hear, or we don't want to see what might be right in front of our face because it makes us uncomfortable. So we pretend that we are unaware. So this is asking you to pull back the veil of illusion, pull back the the ways that you've been kidding yourself or that others have been kidding themselves around you, and see things for what they truly are. And when we don't, when we aren't willing to see the truth in front of us or perceive the truth in front of us, that's when we feed addictive behavior. That's when we are enabling someone to not be in their truth, and it enables us not to be in our truth as well. So it's time to lift that illusion, because it's causing a lot of weight. It feels like a burden, responsibility. It almost has the flavor of the heaviness that shame can create. So time to strip that veil off and let things come to the light, because that's the only way they're really going to fully heal, sweetie. All right. Mitchell, your card is the Sacred Journey. So I don't know if you can see how the circles all connect. And so as we go through the wheel of life, we go through one circle and we move to the next circle. It's like a giant spiral on top of each other. And this is all about how transformation occurs in our lives. And it's all about how our family evolves and grows as well. And when we do our own work, our relationships around us shift as well. Sometimes the shifts go well and sometimes the shifts don't go well, because some people are very comfortable with us being in the model that they've created for us. But we need to be who we are. And when we do that, then the people around us can do that as well. I think of it as wearing a mask. You wear a mask to be, the good son or the good daughter or the good wife or the good husband or the good teacher. And but the real you doesn't get to shine through, because you're constantly living behind a mask of someone else's creation. So this is time for, you are in a life cycle of transformation. And right now, this really connects to your family of origin and really shifting who you are in that space. Because we all have our own roles, but sometimes we get stuck in an old one from childhood. And it's time to step forward and be you. All right? Okay. Joanne, your card is Reaction. So the Reaction card is an indication that you've been caught in some defensive behavior. And boy, don't we all. So when defensive behavior happens, if somebody is acting defensive with you, instinctively your armor goes up and you respond the same way. And when we do that, again, we can't hear each other communicating. And that's what happens when we react. Somebody says something and we react without thinking. That's old energy behind that. So it's old anger and old hurt that's getting expressed, not what is true for you in the moment. So you're caught a little bit in that energy, especially with one person in particular. Like, they feel very frustrating that, they pull you into that every time, and you're trying to find a different way. And the only way to do that, sweetheart, is to step into your heart and take a breath every time you feel like you need to react. And instead of reacting, take a couple of seconds to take action instead. And then you will be closer to your heart center and not down in your ego that's acting from old patterns. Because I know you're trying to create a new pattern, a new relationship because this one person in particular seems very trying for you. And I don't know that it's a relationship you can sever. So then it's time for new tactics. Try not to react. Try to be in your heart center the best that you can. All right, Deborah. So your card, Deborah, is the message. Woohoo! Love when we see the dove. The divine messenger. So the message is, yay, positive news is coming your way. There's a positive outcome coming to something that's been going on. So it feels like you've been going through sort of this mini battle, and it's just been a little exhausting. It's not like it's been knocking you down. It's just been almost like a power struggle. And so finally there's going to be an end to that. And there's going to be a shift, and there's going to be some change. Maybe even to do with the job. Yeah, it's connected to that somehow. So just look for positive things, because they're coming. It feels a few days away, but if you ask your team to bring it to you sooner, they have that ability. So the more we're open to positive things coming our way, the faster they show up. All right, hugs back to you. All right, Minnie. We have some oils going out to you tomorrow. I'm excited for you. So your card, my dear, is Gaia. Woohoo! Shocked that you would call in Mother Nature. Out of the whole deck, you pull in the top mama. So Gaia is reminding you of all the feminine wisdom, knowledge, power, and spiritual connection that you have with, gosh, nature and Grandmother Earth in particular. You hold Gaia's energy in you, and don't be afraid to exude that, because that just empowers you to speak your truth, and it empowers you to step out of the shadows and step more fully into what you do. You're playing it safe, my dear. And the goddess is like behind you, through you, around you. So take advantage of all of this support that you have. Even if you can't see it, it's very, very visibly there. So stop being shy and step out into your truth, because you have much bigger things on your horizon than you are putting into your awareness. That's how I'll put that. Step out of your comfort zone, babe. You and I can hold hands as we do it. All right, Margaret. All right. You have a beautiful evening too. Your card is Influence. And I do want to point out all the phases of the moon at the very top, especially with all the lunar energy that is going on right now. So this is letting you know that you are really influenced by what is happening in the Earth cycle, in what's happening with the connection to the moon, with other planets. You're very sensitive to that. It shifts and changes your energy. So one of the things that may help you is to do some studying on what planets influence our energy and how they do it, as well as how you are energetically connected to the lunar cycle. And that's an easy thing. You literally write down how your energy is on every day of the month, and where the moon is, and do it for like a couple months, and you'll start to see a pattern. Like for me, my energy is really at its peak when there's a full moon. When there's a new moon, that's when my energy is lower. And every time there's an eclipse of any kind, I go through the roof energetically. I have a huge power surge. And when certain planets are in retrograde, that can impact my abilities, sometimes for the better. You know, everybody complains about Mercury in retrograde. That's actually one of my most productive times. I think it's because everybody else is going backwards. And I can sort of go forward slowly while it's in retrograde. So it seems like I'm going even faster. I just avoid, you know, the computer as much as possible and use a lot of hematite. All right. So, Laura. Your card is Purification by Fire. And I'm not sure you've been on this show before, Laura. So welcome. And the purification through fire is, it's time to get down to the bare essentials. And so the goddess energy shows that as the naked truth. And in that place, we're actually open, vulnerable, and whole. So when we need to do a purification through fire, it means that anything that you need to release, you want to use the fire element to help you with that. The energy in your third chakra, the solar plexus, can help you work through that. Ways to call your personal power home. And if you have anything that you want to release, write it down and then burn it. You don't have, if you have something like you wish you'd said something to your boss and you couldn't, write it all down as petty and cranky as you can, and then let it go by burning it. And I usually use sage or salt to help with the purification. And then just sort of meditate on thanking your team for allowing you to release whatever you release through the fire. And it's a very powerful way for you to do this. And the energy is still strong enough for you to do that right now. But you can also wait until the new moon. The new moon and the full moon, those two, the yin yang, are really good times to do purification through fire. All right. Andrea, your card is Rediscovery. This is one of my favorites because the inner child is on the outside and the goddess is in the doorway of her heart. So this is time for you to rediscover your inner child and bring her out. Let her play. Let her have some time. You know, if all we do is work, our inner child gets cranky. I think about, you know, if you've ever been a car ride with children for a long time and they're like, when are we going to get there? That's kind of what I'm feeling from your inner child. Like, when do we get to play? All we do is work. So take some time to do things that really call out your inner child. Do, you know, coloring or blow bubbles or make Play-Doh or watch, you know, kids movies. I'm a big one. My inner child, I'll bring out, you know, I'll turn on a Disney movie and get popcorn and maybe some, you know, gummy bears or something that calls to my inner child and just laugh out loud. But when we do that, our inner child actually restores balance to our heart center. And when we rediscover who we are in our heart center, we're much closer to who we truly are. And that's why our true person, our true goddess, is standing in her heart. Because that's where we truly are, is when we are one with our inner child. All right, so bring her out and play with her. All right, Tina. Your card is motion, my dear. So much movement in this card. It's almost like water moving around. And so the motion card is, there's a lot of energy swirling around you, a lot of creation taking place on a rapid pace. That can feel uncomfortable, but it's not meant to. Energetically in our belly, anxiety and excitement actually can feel exactly the same. So this is a lot of things that your team has put into motion, that you asked for a while ago. And so it's almost like, you've got a bunch of balls in the air and all of a sudden they're dropping into your hands so that you can see them and use them. But this is propelling you forward, and it may feel a little unnerving because the pace may be faster than you're used to. But do your best to kind of like breathe and allow, because it'll begin to even out. And so that as you ask for things, they show up on a much more even keel, because there's been some hesitation. You probably had a period of like standing still, and now it feels like you're in fast motion, but really it's like the motion caught up with you. All right. Jackie, welcome to the show. Your card, my dear, is Enchanted Forest. And I love the Enchanted Forest, the fullness of the moon, and all of there's a lot of the leaves are hearts. There's green and red hearts that are there. So the Enchanted Forest is reminding you to connect to your sense of mystery and magic and wonder and excitement. Does this sound like the inner child? Yes, because they're very connected. But the Enchanted Forest is reminding you how much you are connected to nature and how magical a place that can be for you, whether that's in a forest or in a meadow or at the ocean or on a ski slope. Wherever you feel this burst of alive connection to Grandmother Earth, that's what's calling you now. That magical connection that you have is waiting for expression, and it's really excited and like, it's almost like, standing there clapping hands, right? So you want to call in that energy the best way that you connect, and invite your inner child along to help you with that. Maybe there's a stick in the forest that is meant to turn into a magic wand for you. But allow that enchantment energy to come through, because it will actually help heal part of your heart as well. All right, Bobby, your card is Ganesh. Woohoo! Love Ganesh. Clearing away the obstacles in our lives, giving us protection and guidance. Who doesn't want that? We're supreme at creating chaos, which become the obstacles that we have to maneuver around and through in our life. And so if you call on Ganesh, the energy will be moved out of the way, and you'll be given a protective journey, and you'll be guided on the correct steps, or the steps of least resistance, so that you don't have to run into so many obstacles. There are also people around us who are magnificent creators of chaos. And it's often their obstacles we have to step around and through. So sort of avoiding the dog do of the energy world, it's time for you to call on Ganesh to help you. And remember that there's a piece about the trunk that wants to come through. Pay attention to which direction you are focused, kind of like which way your nose is pointing, because there are times when, when we're looking down, when we need to be looking in front of us. So keep your eyes up and the obstacles will be cleared for you. All right, John, your card is Liberation. Another dove card. How cool is that? So the Liberation card comes because you're breaking free of this negative attachment. And a negative attachment is a belief, an idea, a thought, or even a person that has really created heavy, dense energy for you. And it hasn't been helpful in your life. It has held you back. But we get used to being held back in particular ways because it feels normal. That is trying to release and break free at this moment. So it's time for you to, become aware of any negative attachments that are trying to release and use your energy and your team to focus on breaking the pattern and allowing you to break through. Because that's what's ready to happen, is a beautiful breakthrough for you. All right. So I think Rowena is first, but I'm not sure. Yes, okay, Rowena. Hope I said that right. Yes, of course. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the show. So your card, my dear, is Intuitive Communication. Notice the heart that's in the center of the tree. If you listened to Chakra Sessions yesterday, my show at noon, we were talking about the tree of life and how important that is in our energy center. So with intuitive communication, it's time for you to be silent and listen to the whispers of your heart. What is your heart trying to tell you? When we are so busy doing and so busy being, we sometimes don't hear what our team and what our intuition is trying to tell us. So the best way for the communication to come in is to be quiet. And Sonia Choquette is somebody who I've studied with number of times. She says if you place your hand on the high heart, you can simply ask your heart what it wants. And you can say, "Hello, heart, can you please guide me?" And you will hear it really quickly. So that doesn't take hardly any effort at all, sweetie. So give that a try and allow your intuition to speak more fully to you, because they've got a lot to say. All right. Lori, of course. So your card is Rising Above. Another dove. Another divine message. So the Rising Above card is telling you that this difficult situation or this energy that you've in, you need a higher perspective. And the only way we can do that is kind of like detach our feelings from it and look at it from an objective point of view. So it's kind of like you're going to look at it from a bird's eye view and kind of see what's happening with everybody connected. when we're down in our body, we're feeling just our own ego, and we can't really understand what the other person wants or needs. And it's even worse when it's sort of like a group setting. So when you pull your energy back and you really look at all the signals that they're giving, not just what they're saying, but what their body language is saying, what their tone is saying. Do they sound their age? Do they sound younger? Because maybe it's an old want or need that's trying to express itself. And when you do that, it gives you a sense of freedom. You become detached from the outcome, and then the solution kind of slips right in. But it takes one person to be able to step out and be objective. And when we're objective, we're not doing it from our thinking brain, we're doing it from our heart center. And that's where the divine messages will come in and help you. All right, my dear. Okay. Jana, sorry. first, chew. First look at that, my dear. I'm sorry about that. So, all right. So you want one on your spiritual path. This is an interesting one for your spiritual path, my dear. This is the Temptress. And the Temptress card, you know, people get a little nervous when they see the Temptress because they have that sense of seduction and deceit. So you've gone through some energy where there's been a broken promise in particular. And people say one thing to your face and then they mean something else. That energy has been going on around you. And to step more fully onto your spiritual path, you have to own that we all have that ability. We all have the ability to try to manipulate to get our way, because, sometimes we're doing it to, we think we're trying to help somebody else. But when we use the Temptress in her shadow, then we are trying to bend other people to what we want and what we desire. But when we own that we have that quality, we can actually use the Temptress to open up our connection on a deeper level. And then we're able to make promises that we can keep. We are more open with speaking our truth. And so the big thing that's coming in right now is really learning how to fully speak your truth from your heart, because otherwise the deceit energy pops in. It's really easy to say what somebody else wants to hear, but if it's not our truth, it goes against our spirit and it goes against who we are meant to be. So when we can tap into our heart and allow our heart to speak what is true for us, we no longer have to go through creating promises or having any kind of deceit happening. And wouldn't it be nice to have people always tell you the truth? All right. Barbie, I believe. Of course, it's not too late. I'm like the Energizer Bunny of divination cards. I just keep going and going and going until we're done. So your card is reflection, my dear. So you can see that there's the moon, and then you actually see it multiple times in the water. And so the reflection card is another card about looking for illusion. And things sometimes get distorted. The truth gets distorted by people. It's not necessarily that it's a full-blown lie, right? It's their interpretation. And when that happens, it creates like this distorted energy, the reflection in the water, not the truth of the moon, but the reflection of the moon and the energy there. And the only way for us to really break this kind of sense of illusion is when we go deep and we look inside for our truth. And again, tap into your heart center and ask for your truth. And that will help a lot. But there is a little bit of an illusion energy here. And distortion, whenever I see or sense distortion energy, think about how many women have this distorted view of their body, right? We could be skinny and think we're fat. We could be, and we can, focus on all the negative aspects, but we're not seeing all the positive aspects. And so we're distorting who we are and how we hold ourselves. And it actually impacts our self-confidence and how we hold ourselves. So there are things like that that are illusions that are just a little distorted. It's almost like your third eye needs glasses. All right, get a little clarity on that. All right, my dear. My sweet Ben. Of course, the water lady has a new God thought for you. Let's see what God wants to talk to you about. Perfect. Connection. Can you see all the really pretty sea creatures that are connected there? So this is to remind you, sweetie, that you are very, very connected to the divine. And that is, God above us, and it is Grandmother Earth, our mama beneath us. And you already know God's thoughts. I'm going to point my little finger at you. And it's okay for you to share them with others. They may not believe you, but you are connected. And while everybody can be connected, most of us have forgotten how to be. So you are here like me to show people how to listen for God, because you have that ability. So I'm seeing you drawing some pictures maybe to let people know what God wants to tell them. How about that? And I would love one of those pictures. And I'm sure Neshi would love one of those pictures. So you get cracking on that, because we would love to see your God thoughts and what comes in for you. Okay? All right. Cindy Lynn, your card is Harmony. Isn't this gorgeous? She's like rooted in the earth energy and wrapped around and supported. And she has the star on her heart because her heart is wide open. She also has a little star on her forehead to keep her perception and her intuition open. So harmony is about you stepping into a sense of balance, a sense of self-confidence, a sense of power, your personal power, not power over somebody, but the power to do and be who you want to be. And it's also when we have harmony, we step into a time when we're actually able to accomplish more things. We're in the flow, so we're not in resistance. And resistance is what stops things from coming into our lives, stops us from creating, stops us from being in the full energy that we're meant to hold. So this is like you coming into balance, into harmony. And I'm hearing the Om sound. So one of the ways that if you feel like you might be out of balance is to chant Om. Because if we hold Om, it actually vibrates all the way through our system. They're telling me to do it, so I guess we'll do it. Om. It aligns all of your chakras. It brings you back into balance. And it's a great way to center yourself quickly. All right? Great. All right, Donna. Oh, I love that picture. Of course, a card for you. You got the flame tree, my dear. I love this because it almost looks like the two trees are hugging at the top, you know, with the redness of the moon and then the fire reaching up. So this card is basically saying you've got all this fire in you, and it's ready to roll. So it's time for you to create something new. What have you been dying to do? What have you been dying to change in your life? Do it. You've got all of this fire energy to drive you forward. It's almost like you're unstoppable. And with the two trees being there, it's telling you you're very well rooted, you're very well grounded. And when that happens, then when we try to create, actually we don't even try, when we're going through creation, it happens rapidly without any resistance. So it's time to start something new. So stretch those wings and go for it because you've got all of this fire behind you. Woohoo! And let us know what that is. It sounds exciting. All right, Mary Ellen. Your card is patterns. It's a really good card for healing. So the patterns cards is there's symbolism in the patterns that happen around us. When you have the same thing happen to you over and over again, it's a pattern. And it means you are a magnet for that type of energy to come in. So when you start to notice patterns, it's great. You can notice the patterns of things that you like every time I say thank you for a green light, I get more green lights when I'm driving my car. And it could also be noticing that every time I finish something on my to-do list, I have an influx of energy. Often like lately, as soon as I get something off my plate, somebody books an appointment with me or they order something, it actually turns into monetary flow at the moment. And I'm quite thankful for that. So the more that I complete that has been hanging around, spinning in my brain, the more that I'm able to accomplish. So look for the patterns that are repeating in your life, and it's a pathway for you to create healing. You can start to release the ones you don't like, and you can accentuate the ones you do. All right, Kimberly. Your card is Alliance. And there's a couple different meanings for the Alliance card. So the first Alliance is, I don't know if you can see all the animals. There's an owl and a rabbit and a butterfly. And there's some other hidden animals like in her tunic. So part of your energy is coming into a place where you want to come together as a team. And there are certain things that we are not meant to accomplish on our own. We are meant to do them together. And when we think that we have to do it all alone, that's when it turns into a responsibility and a burden. But there's joy when we get to do it as a team. So it's time for you to find those people who are looking to create what you're trying to create, and come together and support each other. Even if it's just creating like a little mastermind group of people who are all, creating the same type of business, and you share, what's going right and what's going wrong, and you help each other along the way. That can be an alliance, and it can be very helpful, and it can expand what you're doing more fully. And this is also telling you to call in your power animals because they have a place in your life. And if you don't know who they are, or what they are, start paying attention for the animal messages around you. And they don't have to be actual live animals. You may see them like on a billboard, or it may be a stuffed animal you see all the time. But pay attention to the pattern of animals that are trying to give you a message. And if you just Google what the meaning is of that, it'll give you some clarity and a message from your spiritual team as well. All right. So Bridget, your card is absence. So the absence card for you, my dear, is that there's a part of you that's missing. It's not broken. It's not gone. It's that you haven't owned a part of you. You know, sometimes we have an artist that we don't have time. You know, we're so busy doing our day job, we don't let our artists come out and play. And your heart is longing and yearning for what is missing. And the absence can also be somebody who brings out that part of you that's missing. You know, it's the other person never completes us. We're always whole without them. They're just a reminder of who we are, and they enhance our memory of those parts of ourselves that maybe we haven't felt safe to bring out to play. But you need all of those parts of you, because when we don't own part of who we are, then we hold back our energy in all of our lives. So this is time for you to sort of gently bring that back into your awareness. And I feel like you might need a little bit of help with that. So reach out to your spiritual healers and those who support you, and gather up the courage to be open to being who you truly are and not hiding that part of you any longer. Hi, Lindsay. All right. Nice to see you. I'll see you this weekend. No surprise. About to have a school weekend that you might have apprehension. So this is the apprehension card, dear. And the apprehension card is you're starting to move out into the world, and you really are. And as you're starting to step out into who Lindsay truly is, we start to bring in all sorts of doubt and fear. And part of that doubt and fear is a reflection, a mirror of how the people around us are feeling. Sometimes when we are, of a certain age, our parents think, we're supposed to be someone, and we decide that's not who we are. And so then they start to freak out because they're like, but that's what you were supposed to be. But they decided that, you didn't. So this is the time where you start to grow your own wings and think of the apprehension rather than being scared of change. How about being excited and looking forward to it and knowing each day is going to bring me something different? And that doesn't have to be bad. And generally it's pretty good. But when we go into fear, especially someone else's fear, it really pulls us down into the muck. So I can't wait to help you clear that this weekend, because you don't need to be hanging on to that. All right. Kimberly. Hi, sweetie. Your card is dependability. All right. This is a good card for you right now. So dependability is that there are people around you that you really can rely on. There are people who've let you down in the past, but there are people who are ready to step up and be there for you. And don't go under the assumption that they're going to be like everybody else in your life. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And part of having people be dependable for you is you starting to be more dependable for other people. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're going to be somewhere, be there. Because if they don't feel like they can rely on you, then you're not going to be able to rely on them. And that's really starting to shift, because that's what we all want. We want somebody to be there for us. But for us to be a magnet for that, then we have to be that person as well. So it's time to show up for yourself so that other people can show up for you too. Woohoo! All right. Debbie, your card is yin yang. I love this. It's in the throat. It's in the third eye. It's all about harmony and balance. And this is, the more we come into balance inside of ourselves, the more peace we create in and outside. And that balance comes when we bring our physical life and our spiritual life into balance. When we bring our masculine energy of doing and our feminine energy of nurturing and loving into a balance, then we become closer and closer to harmony within our sacred self. And, just like we need our right leg and our left leg to stand solidly, you need the right side of your energy body and the left side of the energy body to stand in harmony. And that's really bringing the divine feminine and the divine masculine in equally. So, for a long time, people have, only prayed to God, and they've left out the goddess beneath their feet, or vice versa. So it's time to bring both back into harmony so that we can feel that sacred space, feel where, the sunrise and the sunset comes together in harmony. And part of it for you is going to be tapping into your intuition and speaking your truth. All right. Katie, your card is consistency. Consistency is a great card for reminding us that when we do things through repetition, we get good at it. Practice makes perfect. This is about doing things over and over and over again, not in boredom, but to develop a rhythm and to develop harmony by creating a sense of pattern. And one of the things that can help with consistency is when we have a pattern for how our day runs, so that our body rhythm comes into harmony. We wake at a certain time, we eat at certain times, we sleep at a certain time, we work at certain times, we take time for ourselves. And when we're consistent with that, then the universe understands that that's our rhythm, and it helps us stay on it rather than calling us into distortion the way the ego does and pulls us out of that. So this is just inviting you to create a rhythm in your life that the universe is ready to support. And the best way to do that is to be consistent, and don't beat yourself up for those times that you don't, that you fall off your pattern. Pick it up the next day or the next hour, whatever works. But you will win in the long run when you create that. All right, Jacqueline, your card is the Ocean of Eternal Love. I love the drop. coming down from the moon. It's like the moon is sending healing right into the water, and water holds our emotional body. So the ocean of eternal love is all about healing, expanding our creativity and our fertility. And basically, most of this takes place in our second chakra. And when we love, ourselves enough, then we are caring and loving in our relationships, and we are able to feel all of our emotions fully. And that creates a fertile ground for creativity to be bred. And that's when you bring in the upper energy in our throat and in our heart and in our intuition. We pull all of that down and we anchor it in that second chakra. And so it's like we pull all these beautiful higher ideals and ideas, and we anchor them, and we're able to create in a divine energy, create in a divine love space. So call on that energy, and again, call on the moon right now, because she's like wanting to help heal everybody this evening. It's just almost in every card there's a moon saying, come on, tap into me. So when you connect with the full moon, if you want to connect with the energy, it comes in a strand that I experience as kind of a light turquoise, and it can come right through your channel just like the divine energy does, and it will anchor in your heart if you ask it to. Woohoo! All right, Maddie, of course. Your card is peace. Look at all that sun. Everybody had all the moon. You have all the sun. Love it. So the peace card comes in when it tells you to, all those spinning thoughts you've been having, it's time to dissolve them and make room for peace and harmony in your thinking and allowing space for you to sleep. One of the best ways to ground that energy is to write it all down. And it gets the energy out of our head, and it makes it grounded because paper is made out of trees, right? And if they're negative thoughts, because I'm kind of hearing some inner critic kind of stuff where we say, kind of mean things to ourselves, write it all down. Write down what's coming in, and then do that fire ritual that I talked about earlier, where you write it all down and you burn it and you ask the divine to take it away, and you allow the love and light energy to come in, and try to give your inner critic a name, so that you can distance yourself from what it's saying. Mine's named Blanche, and she's rude sometimes about what she says. But when I hear it, I'm like, oh, Blanche is at it again. And it's separate from me. I don't feel it as me saying it to me. If that makes sense. All right. Stephanie, your card is heat. I love this card because it looks a lot like the phoenix to me. Has a lot of phoenix energy to it. So the heat card is saying that, you are going through a transformation, and there's a lot of fire energy that is propelling you forward and allowing you to spread your wings and really become, a fuller version of yourself. You're stepping more into who you are. You're stepping out of hiding, and you're going to take flight. So just really lean into that energy. Know that your wings are supported by the divine at all times. And yeah, they got your back. So go for it. Use all that heat, use all that passion and desire, and get done with what you want. All right, so the last card for Neshi. Expectation. Woohoo! I love this card. I just love the buffalo in the background and the phoenix taking flight out of the back of the heart. So this is reminding you to keep your eye on the divine. Expect amazing things, and amazing things will come. When we know the divine is guiding us, then everything is possible. And you already know that, but it's just a reminder. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here with me this evening. I really appreciate having you guys show up to heal yourself, because the more we do that, the more we spread healing along the planet. So that helps me step into my mission to heal the healers. So join me on Tuesdays at noon for chakra sessions, where the ancient teachings of the chakra energy are now transforming into the evolution of our energy system. It's been quite a ride this year as that is transforming. And I want to invite you. We have, a beautiful new show host tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Angel Therapy with Maureen Mann. She is a dear friend of mine, and she actually is a teaching assistant at my school because she's that cool and that amazing. So I would love you guys to support her on her new journey, expanding her wings as she steps out into doing what she does so amazingly. You guys are going to really enjoy that. And again, there's something tomorrow evening. Oh, yep, got it. There's a closed class, and in the closed group on Star Nations, the Tarot 101 class, that's happening with Julie Hedges tomorrow evening. So if you've been itching to know some more about the Tarot and the difference between that and the Oracle cards, because I usually use Oracle cards, and the Tarot has a different meaning. She is the in-house expert, and she's going to be giving an hour workshop, and I encourage you to join that tomorrow. And as always, have a really wonderful evening, and we will see you here next time on Soul Connections, Wednesdays at 7. Bye, guys. Have a nice night.